Howdy all, I'm Adam the Renaissance Nerd. The MCU, as we call it now, the MCU. But the MCU, is it done? Is it over? Yes, that's my answer. It's been my answer for a very long time. The MCU is not the MCU anymore. It's just a product being produced by a giant corporation for a bunch of people who are not really fans of anything. We call them stans. The MCU is not interesting anymore. Doesn't hold the flavor, doesn't hold the power, doesn't hold the influence it did. Once upon a time, an MCU movie in the theater meant excitement. It meant butts in seats. It meant money. Doesn't mean that anymore. No MCU movie in the past 3 going on 4 years has been profitable. Yeah, but Adam, Doctor Strange made $700. Yeah, we learned the reshoots, the budget. No, it didn't make money. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 made money. Enough to buy Kevin Feige and Bob Iger a couple of sandwiches. But no, it didn't make money. None of these movies make money. Everything on Disney Plus is a black hole failure. We understand this. Those of us who were true fans, we get it because we checked out because we saw it was coming. But others, not so much. Stans, we dismiss them. They're stupid. They're retarded. They share a hive mind and have smooth brains. But there are others out there who clearly are on the cusp of understanding it, but can't quite accept that the time is over. Now, I have an article here. It's the perfect vehicle through which to discuss this. Hollywood Reporter, Why the Age of Marvel is Not Quite Over. Now, this article by Richard Newbie makes some good points about when Marvel was good, but then falls apart because Mr. Newbie doesn't quite get the reason the MCU doesn't work anymore. Let's go through it as quickly as possible. I don't want to keep you here all day. In the beginning here, going to tell us, yes, MCU is struggling. The Marvel's lowest opening ever. Its budget, $250 million, is a problem. No, the problem is you're already not leading with the right number. It's over $300 million when you add in marketing. This movie needs $1 billion to break even, and it won't even sniff that. So you've got that. They make the case early on, in the next section, about how everybody was interested because phases 1 through 3 were good. Told a coherent story, something understood with characters you understand and you like, as I said. But here, already it starts to fall apart. Some are all too quick to grab a shovel and start digging a grave for the MCU, a move that feels premature given the recent hits like Guardians 3, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Doctor Strange Mom. Right away, again, here is a false narrative to try and prop up his point that let's not give up on it. As I said, Guardians 3, while it did rally in the end, we know it cost a lot to make. We know there were delays. We know there were reshoots. It didn't really make that much of a profit at all. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, that was a bomb. That didn't make profit. Doctor Strange Mom, we know it didn't make profit. So you're leading with a false equivalency of movies that are not successful to be compared to movies that were in the past. So already you're not off to the best start. But again, they do make some good points here. The most obvious culprit is the glut of Marvel projects released in recent years under the direction of Bobblehead Iger and Bobblehead Chapek, oversaturating the market with Marvel projects to drive up subscriptions to Disney Plus, but releasing multiple projects every quarter left audiences feeling exhausted and left behind. That is a true point. People need breaks. You need breathing room. You need time to let something settle. You need to leave openings to build excitement for your next project. When there was maybe 1 or 2 Marvel movies in a year, it was event entertainment. It wasn't, oh, here comes the next one, whatever. Oh, Disney Plus show. Oh, Disney Plus show doesn't actually affect the overall story. It's just there to be product, to be content, to be consumed, to try and, well, make money for Disney, which it hasn't done. So they make a good point here, laying the blame at the feet of Bob Iger. And I'm interested why they don't put in Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige's as much to blame. He was the one doing all this shit. And again, putting the blame on Disney Plus. So that's a good thing. You get that. But it starts to fall apart the farther you go in here. Here's where it really falls apart. The fact that there's been no new Avengers movie feels like a massive oversight. An Avengers film prior to the Marvels would likely have benefited the film just as Captain Marvel greatly benefited from coming out between Infinity War and Endgame. Yes, Marvel seems intent on saving Avengers for its multiverse saga conclusion. Kang Dynasty, well, we're kind of changing that. Latest news, they're moving away from that. They might be moving away from Kang Dynasty. Get your facts straight. And Avengers Secret Wars was a bid to create the next Infinity War and Endgame. All right, so there's the problem there. No. An Avengers movie would not have worked, especially in the next paragraph, if it was teamed with Doctor Strange, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. There's the heart of the problem and shows that Mr. Newbie and others like him who are on the cusp of understanding the problem when you say there's too much, but then you say we should have had an Avengers movie with Doctor Strange, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi. Half these characters are people that nobody cares about. Doctor Strange, people cared about Doctor Strange until Multiverse of Madness ruined him. People cared about Sam Wilson when he was Falcon. They don't care about him as preaching Captain America, Black Falcon. They don't care about that. Nobody ever really cared about Carol Danvers. Shang-Chi's a joke. He wasn't even the star of his own movie. Black Panther is not Black Panther, it's Shuri. Why not just recast Chadwick Boseman? Oh no. They should have just done that. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was a bomb. It failed. It was a failure, a flop. Marvel's going to be a bigger failure and a flop than that. Does that tell you what you need to know? Because it tells me everything. These are not characters people care about. And if you're saying an Avengers movie with all these characters together would have helped the Marvels, no. Because nobody would have gone to see this movie either, because it wouldn't be an event. There would be no build-up. You even said a minute ago, the Infinity Saga is built up. This was not built up. You can't just slap everybody together and make a movie. They have to earn it. And with the exception of Doctor Strange from phase 1 through 3, okay, maybe 2 through 3, none of these characters have earned it. None of them. They have not earned a place in Super Team-Up land. And Ant-Man was an Endgame, but it's just people like Paul Rudd. They were okay with that. So you understand, there's the problem. Interesting characters lead to interesting stories, which leads to people sitting down and watching the movie. It's not going to happen with characters you don't care about. Marvel Studios has also cannibalized projects that would have made great films in order to make content for Disney+. Secret Invasion, the ill-received Sam Jackson series from earlier this year, could have easily been akin to Captain America Civil War and played on the big screen instead of becoming a haphazardly put-together show that disposed of valuable characters, didn't share any similarities to the popular comic event by Bendis and Yu, and actively damaged the MCU with a last-minute character power-up. See, this is why I say Newbie is one of these people that is on the cusp of understanding what's wrong with the MCU. He understands there's too much. He understands that if you butcher a story, Secret Invasion, Skrulls, who could be trusted, if you give the story its proper merit, its proper arc, it means something. But you don't comment on the fact that Captain Marvel, the movie, ruined the Skrulls. And subsequently didn't allow you to properly set up Secret Invasion. So you couldn't have it. But they understand that it was butchered. But then to say, regardless of opinions on the Marvel's narrative, it's obvious that Captain Marvel's Secret Invasion would have had a greater pull for audiences. It would have allowed fans to turn directly to the graphic novel and build enthusiasm, which is what happened with Civil War. Monica Kamal could have been in it, and there you fail to understand. No, Captain Marvel's Secret Invasion would not have worked because nobody cares about Carol Danvers. Nobody's interested in her. That would not have been a draw. That's the heart of the whole point. Nobody's interested in these characters, and therefore, no one is interested in the stories that are being forced upon us through them. Make interesting characters who tell interesting stories will put butts in seats. That's not happening here. They just go on to say not everything's kosher all the way around, so we shouldn't let that happen. But then they close with this. Performance of the Marvels this past weekend is undeniably a disappointment, but every long-running franchise go through growing pains. Just as Bond didn't die when Timothy Dalton's films disappointed the box office and Batman managed to survive the cold shoulder of Batman and Robin, Marvel won't die. It's an institution at this point. And while we may get fewer films, we'll hopefully get ones that are more cost-effective and more consistent quality. That's the Marvel method that made the MCU such a hit maker in the first place and trusted formula that can still work while pushing ahead with new characters and stories. The age of Marvel isn't quite over. It's a little tired bearing scars and nursing a black eye while trying to push through the wreckage on its back, but as we all know, that's often when heroes rise to their best selves. Again, Newbie is on the cusp of understanding what's wrong. When you say you need fewer films, fewer shows, more consistent quality, he gets it on that level. But you have to understand, nobody's interested in these new characters, in these new stories. That's the point. You fail to understand. And your examples of Bond didn't die when Timothy Dalton's movies disappointed. Timothy Dalton was a great Bond. His movies have aged beautifully. Living Daylights is one of my favorite Bond movies. I watch it all the time. And Batman and Robin, that's not a good example. Why? Because after the failure of Batman and Robin, they put Batman on the shelf for a lot of years. They let it cool down. And I'm not the biggest fan of the Nolan trilogy, but Nolan is a good filmmaker and understands how to put a product on the screen and make it interesting for people. They put Batman in the hands of a true creative. Marvel movies, MCU, they're not putting these properties into the hands of creatives. They're casting directors. They're casting writers. They're casting everybody under the sun to be in this based upon agenda, virtue signaling politics. They're not saying, hey, let's go find the best writer out there to make the Fantastic Four, to make an X-Men movie. No, we're just going to cast people because it's the virtue signaling thing to do. We're not looking for quality. We're looking for somebody who's easily controlled and who fits the bill so that when it fails, we can make the argument, oh, look, we put so-and-so in here. You just didn't like it because you're an istinophobe. That's the problem. You need to let things cool down. You need to tell stories about characters people are interested in, who will then drive the interesting story. And as I've been saying this whole video, will put butts in seats. So the MCU is not an institution. It's a machine that's pushing out products that people don't want. Nothing's going to be saved by just changing, making it fewer films and hoping that the quality goes up. No, there's no saving it anymore. Every movie that's been pushed back will push back another movie and another and another. That's not cool down. That's just delaying the inevitable because you're still locked into stories and characters nobody's interested in. And a soft reboot with Secret Wars isn't going to fix anything. Trying to get the Fantastic Four and X-Men in right now is not going to fix anything because the die-hard, passionate fan base are checked out. The normies are checked out. All that's left are the stans who will open their mouths and say, yes, Daddy Disney, fire off another one on me. That's not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for irrelevance. And that's what the MCU is going to be in the coming years. Irrelevant, unimportant, never forgotten, but only remembered for its good, not its bad. All right, I'm done. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, a like would be very much appreciated. If you are new here, I invite you to subscribe to me right here on YouTube. Hope to earn your trust and support using facts and logic, because facts and logic do not care about whiny Stan, fake fan, and SJW fifis. Hit the notification button for my videos if you like what I'm preaching, and by all means, leave a comment. Love to hear from the true passionate fan like you. I care what you think. I do not care what a single Stan, SJW, or fake fan has to say, because 201, and it's been proven a lot lately, are all cowards behind keyboards who are so easily triggered, not understanding that I really don't care what they think. but I do love it when they freak out. Thank you again for watching. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to reach out to me, please email me at theranernerd@gmail.com for all channel business purposes. I am on Twitter now, mostly for promotion and sharing of videos, maybe a little shit stirring here and there, who knows, at @theranernerd. You can also find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can see me on Rumble and Odyssey under the Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.